it like, okay, here, let me just...
Yeah, move it. You don't cut out the shawl.
No, I'm not. It's still... Hey guys, we're trying to adjust.
This is podcast episode time.
Yeah.
Lighting's good. The girls and I are very excited to bring you another episode of the BrownBerry Chronicles podcast. Welcome, and thanks for watching. My smile is weird.
What? It looks so awkward.
Hey
Just
guys.
hi.
BrownBerry here, and once again I am joined by my mini makers, Meezee, Adachi, my daughters. I got motivated today to record a new episode, and they helped to get me going, light a fire under me. And I know that you guys have sent some lovely compliments about when I've had them on the podcast in the past.
Thank you very much. We very much appreciate it.
Yeah, here they are again. We have so many things to talk about because it's been a while since we recorded, so we're just going to dive right into it. Some of you may know, as I said, I'm BrownBerry Mars, and I have a Ravelry group for this podcast, the BrownBerry Chronicles podcast Ravelry group. And in that group, we have a make-along happening right now.
Yay!
Right now. It's been running since July 15th, and it goes until August 31st, 2016. At the time this is being recorded, there's still a couple weeks left, and we want to encourage you to join in. It's called the Summer School Make-Along, and we call it the Summer School Make-Along because it's all about learning new things and trying new things with your making. And we like to practice what we preach, so we've participated in the Summer School Make-Along as well, haven't we?
Yes.
We tried some new things that we had not made or experienced before, and we're going to show you that. And as a part of the Make-Along, we've also been able to cheer others on. Folks have joined that Make-Along with works in progress or things that they started from scratch, and we're all encouraging each other in the Ravelry group and on Instagram with hashtag Summer School Make-Along.
Yeah, keep posting photos, guys. We like seeing them. They're all amazing and very beautiful.
Yep, really cool to see. And as a reward for participating, we have some wonderful prizes that we'll share with you from some sponsors. Good motivation. So if you have some works in progress where you're trying something new, please feel free to join. There's still time. So let's dive right into it, shall we?
Yes.
Yeah. What did we try for the first time ever this summer?
My favorite thing that we tried for the first time was hand-dyed yarn. Woo! We have a very nice and helpful book. We got a kit that came with a nice and helpful book with instructions and things that you need to know about what types of yarn take dye well and different types of methods. So we read through that first, and we got a few different types of blends. What were some of them? Yeah,
we had a kit from Knit Picks. I'll post the information about the kit, which includes the book that you mentioned. And it also included 3 skeins of yarn. We had 100% wool yarn, a wool nylon blend, and a wool silk blend. So we were able to see how the different types of yarn take dye.
It's a very interesting process.
It is. We homeschool the girls, so they're always very open to new things anyway. And it was a great sneaky science lesson about chemistry and the effect of heat and things like vinegar and citric acid on the dyeing process, all while creating some really fun, colorful yarn. So we started out with what we call our tester skein, which was our
tester.
Yes, some Cascade 220 that I already had in the stash in white. We thought, before we get crazy with different methods, let's just try to dye this skein of white yarn, and that's what we turned it into, is some beautiful fiery reddish, orangish.
Reddish.
And as you
I
can
think
see,
there's a lot of pink tones in there, some lighter, some darker.
Yeah.
It came out very well, and we didn't have...
so we can see Adachi too.
And this hat was just a little pattern that we found for the small ball that we had, and it's actually a hat with a little hole here so you
For
can
a
put a
ponytail.
ponytail through it. I thought that was really cool.
I think that's an adorable attachment.
This is the Teapot Cozy hat by Woolly Wormhead. As you all know, my favorite hat designer.
She's awesome.
And I knit it as part of the Woolly Dozen, another knit along that goes all year, and you can find that in the Woolly Wormhead thread on Ravelry. So this yarn, the girls came up with a color they wanted, pink. It came out darker than we intended initially.
Came out like some sides are pink, some sides are dark red, some sides are light red, but it came out kind of blotchy in a really pretty way.
We love it, and I was so excited, knit it up right away into this hat. So we caught the bug totally with dyeing yarn and trying different methods for dyeing yarn. So we just kept right on going through our other skeins and created
a galaxy.
Some more colorways.
So this was supposed to be a galaxy yarn. This was my idea, but of course they helped a lot. So we have some blue tones, we have some purple tones, and we have some pink, which is a little faded, but we have some right here. And it was supposed to be a very dark black, but it came out a little bit brown, and I think it actually goes very well with the purple. So all's well that ends well, right?
Yes.
So with the methods, some of the different methods we use, I think for this one we did hand dyeing, and you press it into the fiber the color you want.
Kind of like a hand painting where we had the different dye stock available in little containers, and we put different parts of the yarn into little containers of the different colors, and then we had to make sure that it got saturated all the way through.
This one was the one.
This is the Wool of the Andes worsted, so that's all wool. And then with the Cascade 220, similarly, we kind of laid out the skein of yarn and poured the dye onto it and just went around making sure it was well distributed.
Yeah.
And then in our
course, since
third
Mommy
effort,
caught the bug, she
really
decided to dye more. This is probably my favorite one.
I love this
because
one.
I really like the colors green and blue and the nice little bit of faded green, and I think it came out very well. This one, how did you do this one?
This was the wool nylon blend, and this was the first time we did dyeing in the pot. So we put a lot of water and some citric acid and a little bit of dye in the whole pot, and slowly heated up the water until the yarn absorbed all of the dye. There's some really good instructions in the book that we use. So this wasn't very challenging, but it was like magic when the yarn finally absorbed all of the dye and the water went clear.
The water was so clear. I think it looks so beautiful, but like dyeing yarn and wet yarn smells really bad.
And this color we decided to name Sea Glass. My friend Shelly, who's Ciao Luna Bella.
That's such a beautiful name.
It is.
Yes, she's Ciao Luna Bella on Instagram. I asked her to name this for me so she could be part of this special learning process with us, and she named it Sea Glass, which I think is perfect. And then I was inspired to use our last hank of the Knit Picks Bear yarn, which is the wool silk blend.
Yes! Oh, that's perfect.
So I wanted to make a coordinating skein to the Sea Glass. So with this method, I did a little bit more sort of drip dyeing onto the skein. I had some areas that were really saturated to give the darker color, and then some areas I just sprinkled on the dye. Hang on. Yeah, I just sprinkled on the dye to get some of the bear skein still kind of light colored and contrasting to the darker. You can see here how they coordinate.
Oh, the contrast of this one makes it even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much fun. So we're definitely going to get some more undyed yarn.
Absolutely.
And work on some more colors. That's what we've done for the summer school make-along.
Oh, one more thing I have for the summer school make-along. I didn't exactly submit it, but it's it is a white and green speckled hat with a little bit of white down here. And I didn't really have that much white for this project, but what I decided to do was I started over my hat that I'm pretty sure was like 5 videos ago that I showed it, but I started over the whole thing, and I decided I wanted to knit it tighter, and I wanted to knit it into a beanie. So that's what I did. I did white yarn, and then I just put them both in at the same time, white and green yarn.
Look at it. It's
but
super
yeah,
cute.
I put in white and green yarn and knit with them both at the same time, and it comes out really speckled, and I think it looks amazing.
It
and
was
I'm very
worth
happy
starting
with
over,
it.
right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It took me 2 days to do the whole thing.
As part of our
Wow.
homeschool knitting club, we meet once a month with some friends of ours who are also makers, and that gives us an opportunity to work on projects. And Meezee's been able to start, restart
Again.
this hat
Yep.
until she's happy with it.
Yay.
But that's nice when you can really get it to what you like.
I agree. I've had
That's
to
the
do that a
point
few
of making.
times.
Okay, there
Yeah.
we go. No.
Let's talk prizes.
Prizes!
The summer school make-along has been made so much better by participation of those of you in the Ravelry group and on Instagram. And I love to see the sewing and the knitting and crochet and all these different techniques and different crafts that are out there. You guys are doing an amazing job. And I have fun going out and looking at the hashtag and checking out what you're doing in the group. Thank you for encouraging each other and for participating. I've also been able to connect with some amazing makers who have donated prizes that we want to show you.
Yeah!
Summer school, make-along, prize sponsors. And the girls are going to help me display some of these.
Because they're so pretty!
They really are. Adachi
So-
has, from On the Round, the dyer at On the Round is Rachel. And she is one of just my new favorites. She's donated this skein of gorgeous yarn, and it's her everyday DK Superwash Merino yarn, and
Blue
the colorway
Moon?
is Blue Moon. There's
no,
so much going on in this yarn. We should open it up a little bit so you guys can see.
I'll let you
I
see.
ordered
the
some for
beauty.
myself too, and then you guys
And
will
me.
be able to get some, and Adachi got some.
I have one. I'm
So you
excited
can
about
see.
it.
I mean, there's so much going on here. It's beautiful.
How amazing is that?
We are excited to work with this, and we are excited to send it out to one of you. We can't wait. Another prize.
This is Superwash DK Weight yarn, and it's called Back to School. It's Birch Hollow Fibers. That's going to be
Yes.
backwards for you guys, but
No,
it says
it'll
Birch
show
Hollow
right.
Fibers.
It always shows right.
Okay.
Here, let me hold it up for you. So, this was donated by Birch Hollow Fibers. I mean, there are just so many awesome folks out there, and I'm very happy to promote them in their yarn. Look at these colors.
Good job. You guys are amazing at dyeing yarn.
Beautiful.
Back to school. So this is in the DK weight. I actually have a lovely skein of the sock weight for myself to work with. And I'm really excited for you guys to try this out. There's information on all of these prize sponsors in the Ravelry group, links to their Etsy shop or their websites, so that you can go get some more of their goodies if you like. And some of you students in summer school will receive these as prizes. And one more.
Now we have the most exciting announcement that there is.
The girls think this is the most exciting because I now have my own colorway.
Yay!
This is BrownBerry Chip from.
The Fiber Seed also sent us some beautiful pins, and I
This
think
is
that the
Sprout.
yarn is so amazing.
This is the Sprout sock base from Lindsay at the Fiber Seed, and as I said, the colorway is called BrownBerry Chip, 480 yards of fingering weight deliciousness. So Lindsay also sent us some really cool buttons that will be included for one of you, and she made a beautiful stitch marker to go along with the yarn.
Ooh.
I wanted to send a special thanks to a couple other prize sponsors for the summer school make-along. Shamika at Mika Mika Shop on Etsy will be donating some summer-themed stitch markers. And also Christina from Dove Dye Works is offering a 30% discount in her Etsy shop if you use the code BrownBerry. So make sure you get in on that. That runs through the end of September. And as soon as I get some stitch markers from Shamika to show you, I'll be sure to post those on Instagram with the hashtag Summer School Make Along. Thank you to our prize sponsors. We cannot wait to give away these goodies. And we will do a drawing on September 1st for the winners. In the Ravelry group, there's a finished object thread, and we'll draw from that thread. And I may even give away one of the prizes just for the folks in the Works in Progress and Chatter thread as well, because you guys are learning cool new things, and whether or not you finish in time, you'll have come away from the make-along with something awesome. So let's talk about things we finished since we last podcast. I think I showed this in the last episode. My gradient shawl is done. And I'm just showing it again because I have been on such a shawl kick. It's crazy. Today's background is brought to you by my amulet shawl, part of the Shawl Society, a series of 6 patterns by Helen Stewart. And since I started that, working on it with Shelley and a lot of other folks, I've just been shawl obsessed. So finishing Gradient was an awesome accomplishment, launched into a few other shawls as part of the Shawl Society, and haven't stopped since.
And you did do something new on your shawl.
Did. As part of the summer school make-along, I learned how to add beads.
Beads.
We'll add a picture somewhere in the podcast of a close-up of the beads on the shawl.
Yeah.
So much bling. Woo!
Now, I love when you make shawls because I love to photograph them. And when we photographed this one, there's a very nice breeze, so we got to see how the curls in the wind.
Absolutely.
And there are some nice close-ups of the beads on Instagram also.
That's a good thing to mention. Go out to my Instagram account at HeyBrownBerry, and you can see Adachi's handiwork with photography. She's often the one who helps me photograph my finished objects, and this time we did a video so that you could see the whole shawl and that you could see a close-up of the beads. So check that out. HeyBrownBerry on Instagram.
Her Instagram in the description.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Other finished objects. Adachi
has
something. Tell us about it.
So this is a new pattern. I decided to do another commission knit. You can see for a sock. This is the one that's finished. I have another one still on the needles, but this is a pattern called Chittery Chattery that I found on Ravelry, and basically on the leg you're using broken rib stripe pattern, and it creates a very, very cool pattern. I've never done that before, but I loved working with it. Once I got into the rhythm, it was pretty simple, and I just liked to see how the pattern was forming.
Cool. And you've got some nice contrasting heels, toes, and cuff on there using Patton's Croy. Oh no, this is not Patton's Croy, that's on my sock. Adachi's actually using Briggs and Sport wool, so this is a really rustic wool yarn. Both of these colors are from that maker, and I'll link to that information. And as she said, it's a commission knit that we're doing for Afra Soul Child, an Instagram friend of ours who specially requested socks from Adachi.
And yes, this yarn was very nice to work with because it was nice. It was a nice and sticky wool, so it was pretty easy to work with.
It looks great. You did such a great job. Working with 2 colors was new to you.
Yeah.
And you really did a great job of it, switching between the 2 colors to accomplish this very nice pattern.
It looks, when you see it in person, it's really pretty. And if you get it focused in the camera enough, you can see. But it's like almost like fishnet of the green over a gray background.
Yeah, that is.
And I think when I first saw Adachi knitting it, I was like, oh my god, that looks really cool. How are you even doing that?
Yeah, it's
but
really simple to execute.
The sequence is basically, you have your 2 colors. Your main color, you do the ribbing. So you have purl 1, knit 1, and then your contrasting color is just a plain round. But instead of doing your purl 1, knit 1 again on your 3rd round, you then switch to knit 1, purl 1. That's why it creates the different broken rib stripe pattern, because you don't just continue with the same.
Exactly. So we had to take a pause because while we're podcasting, my mister is outside weed whacking. So hopefully you can still hear us pretty well while he's running machinery out there. That's our weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, so we showed you some of the other finished objects by way of our dyed yarn. I think we should talk about some, let's switch a little bit. Let's talk about some sewing. We have worked with my mom, with Grandma, on some sewing, and I've certainly gained some confidence in sewing. We went to visit her the other day, helped her put together her new sewing machine. Ooh. And actually put it to use making some project bags. I've had a goal to make project bags for a little while. When I went to Squam, there's some great quilters and folks who sew there, and I finally took courage and decided time to start sewing, to be courageous and go for it. So I've made a couple project bags. This 2-tone project bag actually uses a drawstring kind of method to close, and then you have sort of a wristlet handle on it. This is just fabric that we've had around for a while, and I have some upholstery samples and other things that we've just had with us for a long time. And Meezee and I figured out the whole drawstring
thing, and after that,
thing.
Mommy just ran with it.
Yeah, I just kept going with it. I really like drawstring as a simple closure because from a sewing perspective, I didn't find it as challenging, and this was just a different way to do it rather than having the 2 strings. I just went with 1. So this makes a great project bag.
Was it this one that you did, your first one?
Yeah,
that you
my first
figured it out?
My first drawstring bag was the one Meezee helped me figure out how to have 2 strings for closure. I really enjoyed making this. It's from, I think I've shown this before. It's the bag that Natalie from Remembrance's Pottery used to send my sheet mug, and I was so happy to be able to turn it into something reusable. So then we kind of graduated from drawstring up to a little bit more complicated closure.
With zippers!
A zippered project bag with lining.
It's amazing.
Thank you, Meezee. The pieces for this have been here in my craft room for months. Pinned together, not sewn, because I just thought a zipper was going to be so complicated that I put it down. I wasn't brave enough to start it. But summer school time to learn new things. And the girls and my mom and I worked together, and my mom was a big help in sort of getting it assembled. And now I have a project bag, inside of which is a work in progress. So we can switch over to discussions about what's on our needles. Works in progress. So I told Adachi when she started her commission knit of the Chittery Chattery socks that I would love to make some. I just thought the pattern looked really cool. So I started some of my own. Mine are in blue, and the flax color is sort of an oatmeal-y gray. And I'm using Patton's Croy sock yarn for my main color, which is going to be my cuff, heel, and toe. And I'm using Regia, the Regia 4-ply yarn that I received from my friend in Germany, Sabine. This Regia blue,
Focus.
there we go,
Yay!
is all the way from Germany, and I'm so excited to be able to use it. I actually am working on sock number 2. Here's sock number 1. I finished this the other day. Adachi cruising on hers just really got me motivated.
It was fun working on them together.
Yeah, we knit along together. So you can see a little bit of the detail, the broken rib pattern that she talked about on the leg and on the foot, the top of the foot. And then on the sole is just a simple single row stripe in stockinette. And then we did the slip stitch heel and gusset. The pattern is written for double pointed needles, so we've had to learn a lot about how to adjust a pattern because we knit magic loop. And learning where things should be on your needles and so on has been an experience.
Yes,
No,
that
I'd
was
like
an
to
experience.
ask,
What do you
Mommy.
think? Oh, you have a question, honey? What's
Who
your
are
question?
these socks for?
Me.
Finally! What time Mommy gets to get her
I'm
socks?
actually going to wear these. I'm not just going to knit them and put them in my husband's sock drawer. Hooray! I've tried them on. I think because of the ribbing, there's a lot of really good negative ease, and they fit so well.
So well.
You guys are my witness. These are mine.
Those look very good on your
On my sock blocker.
Yes.
From
no,
the Loopy U.
we tried to fit my finished one on the sock blocker,
Yeah.
but they are very small, as you can see.
Yes.
This
After
is
Soul
for a
Child,
6
you
and
have
a half.
little feet.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness, they're tiny. We were all sitting around admiring them, like, oh
let's
my
measure it again.
God.
Let's
Yeah,
triple check and measure it
Make
again.
sure it's
So
tiny.
Adachi's work in progress is
And
just
I
sock
have-
number 2. Uh-oh, we've got a needle trying to escape, but
This
because
is
it's
what
wool
happens.
yarn, it's going to be okay. The stitches won't slip down
Yeah,
very quickly.
the sticky
because it's
wool
wool
is
yarn.
very good for that. The
Yeah.
amount of
Cotton,
times that
though.
we had to take this out,
Cotton slips.
and
Yeah.
we never lost a stitch.
We ripped it out a few times just because sometimes you can kind of get lulled into the pattern, right?
Yeah.
And then you end up starting the broken rib on the wrong type of ribbing, and it shows up in the pattern when you've done that. So we've had to rip back a couple times.
Plus the sizing on this one, at first we
Yeah.
thought it was an 8, and then it was a 6.
Like, okay, let's keep going. No, we gotta
a couple
go back.
extra inches.
Gotta
and we
rip
had to
out
rip
like
back.
2 inches.
But I was proud of her because she was very willing to do it because we got to make it right. So what we have left on here,
Oh yes, I only have 16 stitches left here, which could only mean one thing: time to Kitchener.
Time to Kitchener.
This
Let's
time,
close it up.
I think that I'm going to watch you do it so I can relearn how to do it, because I did it once on some of the stuffed animals I made. I'm not sure if you've seen those, but it was kind of difficult, so I think I just need more practice.
You're not the only one who needs to be reminded about Kitchener stitch.
Yeah.
I've seen people talk about that on social media who are makers, and I'd be happy to show you how to do it. It's something I've done often enough lately that it kind of comes as second nature to me now, but I would happily show you how to close up this toe so we can send these socks off to their new owner. Yay!
I attempted Kitchener once. It didn't end very well.
What happened?
I totally failed. At the last part, I was supposed to have 2 or 1 stitches, and I had 4. It was great, and I couldn't keep going because they were all on the wrong side.
Yeah.
It's either too tight or too loose sometimes.
Yeah, I can show you how to adjust it. It's almost like when you lace up something, like a shoe, and you have to adjust the lacing. It's sort of like that, so we'll work on it.
Okay.
Hey.
So we're going to do rapid fire whip review, because I have so many things in progress right now. I can't even give you all the details. We'd be here forever. It is crazy. Did I mention I've been knitting a lot of shawls? I wasn't kidding. I have
1.
my 3-color not cashmere shawl by Holhi Locatelli. Needs some lace and a border. I have just recently cast on Waiting for Rain by Soft Sweater.
Was this the one that you cast on while we were going to the beach?
Yes.
That was only last Saturday. Look how much
I
progress.
have no business
So
casting
much
on new
progress.
shawls.
No
business. But it's garter stitch in Aran weight and worsted weight yarn.
So easy.
I can't resist. I've got some beautiful gray to work with and some Kathmandu Aran.
That is a really pretty yarn.
Yeah,
I like the
that
speckled design. I kind of want to figure out how to do that.
Oh my gosh, I love working with them, and it's so much thicker than the other yarns I'm working with that it's cruising along. My current obsession. As part of the Shawl Society, we are now on shawl 3 of 6.
Ooh.
This one is called Asana by Helen Stewart, and I'm making it in this lovely olive green Barocco Fiora. Check it out.
Can we talk about this leaf pattern down here?
Like this pattern.
It's so pretty.
You guys, loving this project so much, I can't put it down. I'm now in a portion of the lace that is complicated enough that I can't really multitask. I have to pay attention to each of the lace sections, but I'm still loving it. That yarn, as I said, Barocco Fiora, and I got this at the swap table at Squam, the Squam Art Workshop retreats. Thank you to whoever decided to give that yarn a new home. I love it. I would buy it again. And it's just working up beautifully in the Asana shawl. Speaking of shawls, I'm knitting a second amulet. I may have shown you guys this before. Amulet was shawl number 2 in the Shawl Society. This one also has beads.
Shining, shimmery
I think that
gold.
little line down the middle just gives it a little bit extra pizzazz, just like the beads.
Yep, coordinating colors of a Knit 1 Crochet 2 yarn called Baptiste. Loving it. So that's a quick whip rundown. I have lots to knit on.
How many was that? 5 shawls?
I think it's
You gotta get this under
a
control.
lot. It's a lot. I always have something to work on, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm part of a few different make-alongs and knit-alongs online, and all of these qualify, including Ravelry Games, which is make-along during the Summer Olympics, which we're all really enjoying. Are any of you guys watching the Summer Olympics? Let us know what sports you love. What sports do you love in the Olympics?
Oh, I love watching women's gymnastics. I used to be a tumbler for a little while, and so I've picked up on what type of things to look for, what to get, what score you're gonna get. So I know a little bit about it, and it's really enjoyable to watch. Team USA.
USA. And Canada. And Jamaica. We have lots of teams to cheer for in lots of different sports. What about you?
Yes.
Any sports you really like?
I think diving is probably the most interesting to me because I like
Water
watching the
sports,
forms
I
and
like.
stuff like that. But other than that, I'm not really the biggest sports person.
Yeah. Missy's busy YouTubing.
I'm busy. I'm busy YouTubing.
If YouTubing was a sport, gold medalist right here.
Gold medal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a great thing to be able to knit to at night when the events are on. I sometimes just have it on in the background to listen to. And then sometimes there are people that we are really cheering on. And so we sit, you know.
That's what I
Glued
was
to the
doing.
screen.
Tom Daly for
Yesterday-
diving. I don't know
and-
who the American person is.
And yesterday, the women, well, it wasn't yesterday, but the women's gymnastics all-around final, I was glued to my iPod.
Simone Biles and Gabby Douglas.
Gabby
and
Douglas.
Hallie
yes.
Raceman and all the girls
Oh,
on the
God.
Final Five team have been awesome. And now track and field is on. By the time you see this, the Olympics may be over or almost over, but
Whoa.
we're having so much fun with that too. So I think that's a lot to cover in a podcast. I only have one more thing I would like to share with you, an announcement. Announcing the Transitions Make-Along. We're coming right out of summer and transitioning into fall, and we cannot wait. We live in South Florida. It's a little toasty here. The
Very.
Transitions Make-Along will be co-hosted by myself and my friend Chanel at the Pipernell podcast. The two of us will be hosting this in our respective Ravelry groups and using the Transitions Make-Along hashtag on Instagram.
Yes.
A little bit of info about the Make-Along. It is for any projects that use leaves, like the fall leaves that change colors, or gradient yarns, or gradients in a pattern. It's just about transitioning either in the yarn you're using or in by showing leaves in your project. Speaking of,
Leaves.
check out these trellis socks. One of our prize sponsors, one of many, is Alana Dakos from Never Not Knitting. She sent us some beautiful items as prizes for you. A pattern for gorgeous socks. A needle gauge with this beautiful leaf pattern. Thank you, Alana, for the Ivy Trellis socks pattern and the needle gauge. We have lots of prize sponsors for the Transitions Make-Along. There will be yarn, pattern books, wonderful discounts for Etsy shops. We have some pottery, some handmade buttons, lots of wonderful things that I know you'll enjoy. Check out Instagram and our podcast groups over at the Pipernell podcast and the BrownBerry Chronicles podcast for more information. It starts September 2nd and runs through November 2nd, I believe. So you have plenty of time to get in on it. I think that's it. We've had such a great time catching up with you guys. So many things are happening here in the house and being made, and I'm having such a great summer making things. I hope you are too.
I think it's good when you have a lot of time, especially in the summer, to try to learn something new. And I know that we've had a lot of fun doing that.
Totally.
And of course, don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe to get
BrownBerry.
notifications about new episodes. Meezee also has a podcast that she's posting on pretty regularly lately.
Meezee Bears the Lost. I'm posting a new video on Saturday, which is
Yeah.
today. That
Yep,
we're filming
so
this.
I'll make sure you have a link to that. Have a wonderful week of making. Good luck with all the projects you're working on, and connect with me online anytime. See you guys again soon.
Bye.
Bye.